Hi, Taurus. Welcome to your February 2026 tarot reading. Um, there's a few things I want to say real quick. First of all, this is for Taurus of all placements, and those intuitively guided. So, Taurus, February isn't about patience anymore. This is what I was picking up when I was pre shuffling the cards. Patience, done. Something that's been stalled, I guess for a better word, is about to move. And once it does, there's no going back. Now, I feel like this is a good thing. I really do. I feel like this is a good thing. So, um, but that's what I heard. Like, and once it does move, there's no going back. But I feel like, again, it's a good thing. So let's see what your spirit guides want you to know and really what they want you to know right now. And by the way, very seldom do I feel like a reading is like urgent, but again, it'll reach you in your divine time. Um, so we will give Mother Mary the honor of opening up your reading with her beautiful words of wisdom. We're going to use the crystal vision to go deeper, and deep we will go. And then for your main spread, I'm going to use the Universal Tarot. Going to go ahead and bring the lid down. Um, and we're going to do the Celtic Cross, which is what I've been doing for every sign. And, you know, this is nothing about me tooting my own horn, but I just have to say, like, February readings have been off the chart. And I expect nothing less for yours, really. So let's go ahead and open this up. So, everything is always pre-shuffled. Again, that's when I'm just meditating on your sign, connecting to our guides. It's where I'm just becoming the messenger now, not just the messenger for you. You can certainly ask your guides to send you signs of confirmation, like numbers, colors, whatever it may be. All right. Just going to calm my own energy for a second. And let's begin. Mother Mary, for my beautiful Tauruses, and those intuitively guided. We got a couple. All right. Hope. Beautiful. Hope. This reminds me of the star card. Your hopes, your dreams, your wishes, but it's about manifesting them. I trust that God has a wonderful solution and brilliant plans in store for me. Well, I already know that's the case. Again, because there's something changing. And, well, again, something that felt stalled. So now we're going into movement. And then we have enthusiasm. Reminds me of the Three Cups. Enthusiasm. Whatever I am most passionate about is the direction I flow. Some of you, that may answer a question you had. Should I do this? I feel like it's definitely piqued my interest. I would say follow it and see if it continues to pique your interest, like Tarot did with me. I tried to learn astrology, but my mind just couldn't comprehend all of it. So I knew, okay, that's not my thing. So I studied numerology and just, I couldn't stop learning, just like with the tarot and our spirit guides. Like, I just want to keep more knowledge, please. More knowledge. So, hope and enthusiasm. Wow. You put hope before enthusiasm, it feels like that's automatically going to happen. All right, so let's go into the main spread. By the way, I like to give the cards a shuffle with you also here. And I do that for a couple different reasons. All right. Oh, well, hello. So the first position is the current energy. With that comes what I call the bridge. This could be something that is helping the current situation, or it could be advice, whatever it may be, we'll let it be. But they do read together. Then we're going to go to the subconscious mind, your past, and then the conscious mind. So the conscious mind and the subconscious mind mirror each other, as do your near future and your past. And this being the bridge that either connects them or, we'll see. Next is you, all about you. Next is external forces, external elements, whatever it may be, can be, again, a benefit. This is your hopes and your fears. And then last but not least is the final outcome, which, by the way, we can change if we don't like it. And that's exactly why we do these readings. It may show us like heading one particular path, but maybe it's not a path that is like stirring our passions. And then the right path shows. So, let's go ahead and begin. And let's start with current energy. Oh my, beautiful. Temperance. Wow. It's interesting is temperance, her first message is patience. Yet your spirit guides were saying, that time has come to an end. So if it's come to an end, then it's talking about something happening that is going to feel divine. This does speak about trusting a divine timing and the patience that was needed. I can't help notice that he's mixing loving waters between two cups. So who knows? We may be talking about a soulmate. We'll see. But I feel like what this is saying is divine timing is now. It's now. How beautiful that you have temperance in your current energy. I mean, no matter what's going on in your life, I feel like things are about to change, but for the better. All right, let's see what comes over that. Well, the death card. Interesting, we have two major arcanas. First of all, Temperance is Sagittarius, and this is Scorpio's card. So the death card speaks of endings, but it's really about the rebirth. So when you see the death card, a door is ready to be closed, and that may be a good thing. I have a feeling it is a good thing because the rebirth that's taken place is taken place within divine's energy, divine timing. Boy, I have a feeling we're going to go deep. All right, let's go to this subconscious mind. The hangman. Could be a pause in the action. Maybe you didn't really have much say so. But again, things are about to move, things are about to change, which may turn this hangman around. Remember, the hangman is seeking spiritual wisdom to use on this earthly plane. Some of you, you're receiving this wisdom during your sleeping hours. And it's funny, I've been feeling that a lot, but I feel like that's for those who may be very busy during the day. Maybe you don't have like that quiet time to like reflect. But I also want to say, when divine is involved, and divine is involved, look for signs, synchronicities, like they'll all be part of this. So there was a pause. Temperance is saying that pause is over now. The death card is saying the exact same thing. It's time for your rebirth. So I am going to go to the past now. If I can pick it up. Six of Wands, which is victory and success. This is, an energy where other people are really looking up to you. And it's usually because of action steps you've taken. So, victory and success. But I feel like something else I want. Hmm. The only negative thing with this card, at least at this table, is it can talk about ego, like rising to the top quickly. And it's like, you know, we have to be careful that we stay, in a grateful state. But we'll see. All right, so let's go to the conscious mind. Wow, hello, Ten of Cups. Wow. And then there you got temperance in your current energy, mixing the loving waters of 2 cups. Now we have the house of love, the house of harmony, joy. What did Mother Mary send out? Hope and enthusiasm. This isn't a perfect house. The people in it aren't perfect, but they support each other. So if there's any issues, we work it out together. But it really is like a lot of playfulness and, no one's hiding their love. No one's hiding their feelings. It's interesting I'm saying that. Maybe you've dealt with that. Some of you may be doing pretty well in your money. It may be love or a relationship, but I feel like a serious one. Probably, one that will last forever. Ten of Cups kind of feels that way. And let's go to your near future. Four of Swords, killing. Mother Mary watching over you, healing the heart, the mind, body, the soul. There's one sword. That's our own truth. Like, this is where we're really knowing ourselves. And that's a part of the healing process. That tells me there's something that you needed to heal from. Yet at the same time, you have nothing but rebirth happening. So maybe the crystal vision will go deeper with that. But it really feels like, again, where there was this pause or this stall in energy, it definitely feels like everything is moving now. It is important that I do close the door. And whatever door that is, I feel like that has to do with healing. So something that definitely wasn't easy. Um, but yet I still have you in a victorious state. And, I get the sense of also remembering that younger part of yourself. When I say younger, what I mean is like that inner child energy. Because I have a feeling this is going to call for the inner child. because it feels playful, it feels romantic. Um, but let's keep going. Let's keep going. Under you, we have the Two of Wands. So here you are, about to step on this path. Path of the Wands. Hello, passion, desire, anything that piques my interest. I'm at least going to take a step in and see what the water feels like. This is not a fear-based energy, and that may be why the Four of Swords was here first, like the healing of the mind and even the thoughts. Many times, when you see the Four of Swords, yes, it can be as difficult as, like, I can barely get out of bed. But here, I feel like it's more of just like the thought system. Like having to erase the naysayers out of our brain. And I feel like you do. Because here you are, like, this is almost like the Fool. This is you seeking adventure. This is you at least saying yes to the potential of adventure, which I already know lies out there. So let's go to the external. The Hermit. Beautiful. The wise old soul. Card of Virgo. But this is the wisdom. This is the representation of 2025. And it's interesting because when I lay it down now, the Four of Swords, it's like I feel like the Hangman is awakening. And it may not be an overnight process, but nonetheless, even that sword that's across this person's body, right? The knowing of myself, the good, the bad, the ugly. But then the Hermit, right? The wisdom, but the wisdom of lifetimes. And you either see the Hermit going into a cave, which means I'm going through the dark night of the soul, or something difficult. And I do feel like when you're going into the cave, it's something that like brings you to your knees because you then seek the light. And I get this sense like that's all I have to do. If I seek the light, I shall find it. And what the Hermit realizes is I am the light. I am my own light. I can light my way. Use the wisdom of all my experiences, my ancestors, my higher selves, the ones that have been here, done that. I love this energy also for sharing your own wisdom. So I really feel like this is to recognize how far you've come. That's what I feel like. And then I think of a nine, I think singular. Or we could say like the final reflection. And then that chapter is meant to close. Well, the Hermit was 2025, and that chapter has now closed. But it was all about the reflection. So I feel like you did a good job. All right, let's look at your hopes and your fears. Interesting. The Queen of Pentacles. Queen of Pentacles can be, well, we got Virgo right below her. They could also be Taurus, you, um, or a Capricorn. I call this Queen my psychic detective. This is someone who can read between the lines. I definitely feel like she can read energy. I guess the only thing I would say with the Queen of Pentacles is she can also overthink. And that may be what it's saying to you. like to trust your intuition and try not to then second guess it. We can talk ourselves out of just about anything, right? Like we see it and it's like, oh, look at that, the 10 of Cups. But then let's say we didn't go through this healing period. We never did shut this door. Wow, that adds a lot of confusion to the mix. But if we do close that door and we allow this rebirth to take place, knowing that divine has your back, if you've been seeking wisdom, you're receiving it. And it may come in many different ways. But I feel like if this is about a new path, which it kind of feels that way, you're being guided. This is about your free will and what excites you. But at the same time, I have a feeling your guides put something before you. All right, let's look at the final outcome and then we'll go deeper. Okay, so we want to change that. 9 of Swords. Worry, worry, worry. Worry, worry, worry. The meaning of this card, though, is unnecessary worry. And it talks about worrying about things that you cannot control. So why worry about them? And I know that's easier said than done. As soon as I said that, I'm thinking, well, I spent many times worrying. But this literally does mean that you do not need to worry. You can trust divine. You can trust yourself. That's probably the most important part of this. So who knows? Maybe that 4 of Swords really was to heal the mind. Okay. Let's look at the bottom of the deck. 7 of Wands. So that's defensive energy. Defending oneself. Look at that, the 5 of Swords underneath that. Okay. Well, that makes more sense. 5 of Swords. It's like, no, even the 4 of Wands and then the 4 of Cups. Wow, this all just feels like it goes together. So let's look at that for a second. So let's start here. What am I holding? 4 of Cups, discontentment, boredom. The meaning of this card is about using your spiritual discernment. And then we have potentially a marriage with something, or let's just say a connection. But it doesn't feel like it was bringing you true satisfaction. And then we have, nope. Then we have the 5 of Swords. So, a 4 of Wands, which is normally like the marriage card, and it can be a marriage. But here, something went wrong. This could have been a free will decision. This could have been a karmic relationship. And, that may be why Temperance is out here. Like, especially if you've cleared it, because then comes the 7 of Wands. And it is about standing your ground, defending oneself. Like, look at all the attacks coming your way. One after another. I put out one, another one comes. I beat that one, another one comes, and another one comes. Even look at that, the Empress and the World. I don't know why I'm going back like this. But I feel like this is your true energy. You just needed to get through this. And I wouldn't be surprised if many of you have taken this past energy because it does feel like you've reflected upon it, you understand it, and it does feel like you're ready to let it go. Especially those who really do trust in divine timing. Again, divine timing is now. But what I was going to say is, there's something that, like, you had to overcome in the hermit's energy, where the hermit is sharing his beacon of light, his wisdom. I could see many of you doing that. Like, I often feel like this person, because they had to defend themselves so much, turns out to be like an attorney, or someone who fights for the people, fights for the cause, but of the light. Let me clarify that. Of the light. All right, let's bring in the crystal vision and let's go deeper. Okay, if I can pick them up. Eight of Wands didn't want to be picked up, and that can be fast-moving energy. Also, what I think about, I bring about. So we'll see if it makes its way out. All right, we're going to shuffle for these cards. And let's start in the present. We have the Page of Swords. So, Page Swords, many of you, this could be something that really had taught you how to truly communicate. Like learning to use your voice to stand up for yourself. And we had that at the bottom of the deck. A page can also represent, well, a couple different things. It can represent someone from back in the day. So, Sword, Libra, Aquarius, or Gemini. I just got done with Gemini's reading. But something is telling me it's more about using one's voice. And this may be in part of the lesson that I just completed. Now, a page can also be what's in the atmosphere. So it could be some type of communication. Eight of Swords. Ay. Self-created prison. This is when I'm really not trusting my intuition. This is where I put walls up. And, we do it because we're trying to protect ourselves. But this doesn't protect us. We have every right to do it, but it doesn't protect us. Our intuition is really our guiding light. And in the Eight of Swords, it's hard to pay attention to your intuition. This person's got a blindfold on. She's got her hands loosely bound. Those swords that are meant to be a wall, like anything can get between those swords. And because it's self-created, and this may just be like not believing in yourself, but that could come from like I always tell my daughter, look at the source of who's speaking. Eight is about a new beginning, and by the way, when you put these walls down, it's freedom. It truly is freedom. It doesn't mean like I know what's going to happen next or what have you, but you're saying enough is enough. I'm going to trust my intuition. I'm going to get back out there. Look at this, the Ten of Cups again. It's like you're afraid of love. It's like you're afraid of this type of love. Maybe you haven't experienced this type of love. I always say there's different levels of love. Our free will choices, karmics that are meant to teach, or we're teaching them, or, we're either the teacher or the student. But sometimes we can be both. And I just feel like some of you are afraid of this type of love. Or maybe you don't believe it exists. But yet, okay, so I feel like your spirit guides are speaking to you in your dreams. They're trying to make you aware that you have these walls up. And that is why the Nine of Swords is also here. But listen, the Four of Swords can take all that away. I would definitely ask myself, what walls do I have up and why? And then it is your free will. But there's that Ten of Cups again. I mean, over temperance. Now, with two Tens of Cups, we have really our soulmates. I don't believe you, Sandy. I can't make you. But I feel like it's more about closing that door. And it may be an energetic door. For some, it may be a physical door. But this is when you know enough is enough. The Death card is about transformation. And temperance, again, divine timing, and it's now. And she's mixing the loving waters of two cups. Then we get two Ten of Cups. But yet some fear around that. I get it. Trust me, I get it. Yet, I feel like for some of you, it's what you've been praying for. Some of you are praying for the strength to close that door. And I feel like if that's the case, you're going to find it. Again, let's just look at hope. I trust that God has a wonderful solution and brilliant plans in store for me. And whatever I am most passionate about is the direction I flow. I don't know how you can't be passionate about the Ten of Cups. But, you know, you know. All right. I kind of want to keep this 10 out. All right, let's go down to the subconscious mind. What's happening in that mind of yours? A lot. There's that Six of Wands again. Victory and success. The Queen of Swords. Interesting because we had the Page of Swords. Now we have the Queen of Swords. And I know you're not a sword, but I do feel like this is you. And I feel like this is you evolving from the Page to the Queen. So the Queen knows what she wants, what she doesn't want. And she speaks her mind. Like, I don't feel like I have to get in a fight or anything like that. And then I'm thinking of the Seven of Wands, like defending your ground. But sometimes I feel like, are we defending our ground against something that really isn't that beneficial for us anyway? All right. Well, here's Temperance again. So definitely reaching you in your dreams. Some of you may not even know that. You may not remember those dreams, but it's like divine is planting seeds, like a seed in your mind. Well, speaking of a seed, how about the Ace of Pentacles, which I call a seed? Because this is something that's coming into your physical world. And if we think of it like a seed, we plant that seed. We're either going to nurture that seed, give it the sun and the water that it needs, or we're just going to let it dry up and die. The choice really is ours. But the Ace of Pentacles has roots attached to it. So it's something that can really take root. And then the Queen of Wands. Wow. This queen follows her passion. No excuse for it. This queen has learned that not everything's going to work out. But I'd rather have tried than not tried. Because I've learned. And it is like you are now the master teacher. But do you know that? Like Temperance is working to turn that hangman around, to bring you into the awakened state, which is truth. That's that one sword. But even the truth of what door is ready to close so that this door, this rebirth can take place. And I feel like even if you're a little afraid, I still feel like you should move forward. But, all right, let's go right up to the conscious mind. Let's connect them. Oh my, judgment. Taurus, you have so much energy calling you to the current moment. This is your spiritual team. And much like the death card, they talk about a rebirth. But they are also guiding you. And that's why they need you in the present moment. This is where we send your signs. Not yesterday, not tomorrow, right now, right here. Coming over the Ten of Cups. That house feels protected. That house feels like it's full of love from the people who live in there, but the spiritual guides who love them. Like, I just feel that. But everything is calling you to the current moment. The Death card, Temperance twice, even the Ace of Pentacles, the Two of Wands. We have the King of Swords. Interesting. Queen of Swords down here. King of Swords, well, Queen of Swords in the subconscious, King of Swords in the conscious. So let's talk about the King of Swords, because it does not have to be an air sign. Can be, but it doesn't have to be. This king, to me, represents integrity, truth. And it's interesting because, again, that page. Who was that page? Was that page the queen or the king? Or was it both? And they both had to learn through their experiences, how to choose themselves, number one. And I don't mean that in an egotistical way, like I'm better than the rest. But in a way, if you've, especially if in 2025 you really took the hermit seriously and did the reflection, And I know a lot of people were like, yes, 2025, goodbye. And that could be what the death card also is, like letting it go. And this is opening up a new adventure. But my God, it is love. I may come back and look at that king, but I want to look at the Four of Swords now. You know, I feel like why your spirit guide said um, that something's been whatever was stalled is about to move. Well, for some of you, I feel like it was you, and now you're ready for movement. And remember what your guide said, like, and once this starts moving, there is no going back. But I don't think you're going to want to go back. And I feel like that's what your guides meant. Page of Cups, the inner child. Healing of the inner child. Perfect, because I feel like the inner child is about to come out and play. And, you know, when I think of a page, I also think of like unencumbered times when things were light and easy until life got in the way. But I do feel like it's a good idea every once in a while, maybe every 9 years, if you even want to wait that long, maybe 5 years, to just kind of re examine your life. Am I on the path that I wanted? Has something like pulled me astray? But I can always correct course. Listen, that page of cups is being healed for a reason. And that page of cups must also be part of that eight of swords. King of cups. Interesting. So now we have the king of swords, the king of cups. We saw the queen of cups. We had the queen of swords. So we have like-minded energy. Interesting because this page produces a king. Hmm. I have a feeling these lives are very similar, like lesson wise, things that we've gone through separately. But then when we do connect, that's probably what we'll talk about. Like, I dealt with that, so did I. So you'll get each other. You know, I don't want to say that necessarily this is someone from back in the day, but I cannot leave that off the table because I do feel like for some, but not the energy, not with the five of swords, not that. Right? I don't feel like you're in the energy of wanting to fix. Quite the opposite. I feel like here you are sitting in this victorious state. And then I feel like love enters. But I do have to close the door first. And I do feel like it's energetic. And I feel like the door is the Eight of Swords. I got to set myself free. Not for any other reason, just that I don't want to live in that energy. But I feel like that's exactly what Temperance was waiting for. And then it begins. And then it begins. I mean, temperance with the Ten of Cups, judgment with the Ten of Cups, divine energy all around the Ten of Cups. All right, I'm going to pick some of this up. But I do not want to pick up that Ten of Cups yet. All right, let's go to the Two of Wands, which is representing you. The Three of Cups. Hello, Ace of Wands. Ooh, the Emperor. And then the Fool. Now, that's what I'm talking about. So, here we are at the Two of Wands, standing at a crossroads, deciding if we're going to take a step forward. The Ace of Wands shows. That's the passion that's been ignited within you. It's telling you that this Three of Cups, that this is a joyful time. And then the Fool, the willingness to take that leap of faith. But the Fool has put the past in the past and extracted the wisdom. And that's it. And that's what the Hermit is. Then we have the Emperor. Well, number one, can be business ownership. Can be like you are now the leader. Or it's someone that you're about to meet. And the Emperor is fantastic. Male or female, by the way. And yes, it's a card of Aries. And for some, it could certainly be that. But I really feel like what it's speaking about is the difference between what was and what can be. Because the Emperor is someone that we can look up to. The Emperor is full of wisdom and compassion and empathy. This is someone who definitely loves to help their fellow brother and sister, but also knows like who to help and, but that's their lesson. That's what they were learning. I feel like what this is saying also is this is not just anybody. Look at all that. This is meant to be joyful. This passion that's igniting within you, it's meant to ignite. This new path it's showing, it's timing. And it just so happens that the Empress sits on this path. Not sits, but is on the path. Like this is your future person of the Ten of Cups. I just feel that. And again, male or female. Let's say you're a man who's interested in women, then this would tell you the same thing, that again, this is someone who, I just want to say they have their shit together. Let's just put it that way. Like, this is not anyone that I gotta teach. This is someone I can feed ideas off of, and they can feed ideas off of me. Like, I often feel this is the type of person where, like, if you have similar goals, you could create a business together. Like, I feel like anything and everything all at once. All right. I'm going to keep going up the line, but I want to keep that Ace of Wands right where it's at because it's like the passion that's igniting this new path. Six of Cups. Someone that I used to know. Okay. Wow. Interesting coming over the Hermit. This could be past life love. It could be many past lives. By the way, I get a feeling that there, and this may just be for few, that in a previous life you loved, but you weren't able to come together. You loved deeply, soulfully, but something didn't allow the two of you to come together. So this lifetime, it's like these souls, that was part of the quest. Can I find you again in this lifetime? And if that's the case, there will be a very familiar energy with this person. You know, the Six of Cups speaks about nostalgia, happy memories. So it's not the Five of Swords. Let's make that clear. This is someone that, even if you do know them, because we did see the page to the cup, or the page to the king, and the page to the queen, you know, so to me, that means that all have evolved. Maybe not back here, but here, all have evolved. I would not be surprised if this is a past life love soulmate. And this is its divine timing. You know, we know now everything here. It's not about waiting for 6 months, waiting for 2 years. This wants to happen now. But it's almost like with a death card here, it's like you have to give it the green light. Okay. I want to take one more of the Six of Cups. And I'm gonna ask our guides before I shuffle. Um, I want to know if this is a past life. Then I'm thinking, how are they going to answer that? Well, just anything more with the Six of Cups to give us more clarity. Let's put it that way. Nine of Cups. Inner fulfillment, and then fulfillment of wishes. This nine is coming over another nine, the Hermit. So this reflection of the past has done you a wonder of good, because now this is sitting with inner harmony. Doesn't mean my life is perfect, doesn't mean everything is going my way, but I found the joy and gratitude because new blessings are coming. And it's interesting because the Nine of Cups, I often feel is singular energy. Then we see the Ten of Cups twice. And I wanted to know about this Six of Cups. So it feels like a wish being granted. But as I say, a wish being granted, I kind of feel like this was like predestined anyway. So this may be a wish being granted, but in its divine, now it's its divine timing. I'm starting to get that urge to do a past life reading again. Though I have to say, the last one I did, if you haven't watched it, you should watch it because you may find yourself in there. Because that's what happened in that past life reading. Two people did fall in love, but they couldn't be together. I'm not going to tell you why, because, you know, to me it's like a movie and I don't want to ruin the ending. Um, but it was very clear. Okay, anyway, let's keep going. So I feel like this is a wish being answered. Okay, your hopes and your fears. The Two of Pentacles, Five of Wands, and the King of Pentacles. Interesting. So, Two Pentacles, decision. Five of Wands, five, change. This is fighting. I'm sure, like, you do not want to go back to that energy. A lot of ego in this energy. Could have been this king, or this could be you. Also, as I'm thinking about it, it's probably you. I just realized we have the queen there also. Interesting. Okay. I feel like I kind of don't feel like this king belongs. Like, I don't feel like this king is part of your future. He may have been part of your past. And one of the main reasons I feel that is because there's a lot of ego attached to this. And nothing in this reading feels like it's ego based, except for what was. And because it's falling under your hopes and fears, I feel this is more your fears. And, by the way, this happens all the time, but someone new enters who, let me tell you, Taurus, I know is a soulmate. And I know it's meant to happen. I just feel it with every fiber of my being. But sometimes when that happens, all of a sudden, karmic could make a repeat appearance. And we just have to know better at that point. Like, they're not coming in to make anything better because they're coming in with their ego. So you may be making a decision, but I feel like very quickly it's letting us know, like, if this king is of the past, I don't feel like anything has changed. But I know that happens quite a bit. Like, this new love is presented to us, and then boom, this person from the past who gave us these issues. It's kind of like, it reminds me of like a narcissist. Someone who doesn't want to make you happy, but doesn't want someone else to make you happy either. It's like you are their property, but they don't take care of their property. But nobody else can touch that property. And maybe for a while, I played that game with them, but not anymore. Not anymore. Not with everything you now know. I feel like, and especially because I feel like this this love that is part of divine timing is opening up before this person even may make a repeat appearance. And I know that may not be for everyone, but I do feel like that's for some. And here you are with this inner harmony. And yes, that's exactly what a narcissist does. Like, oh, she or he's got inner harmony. Well, can't have that. Just close that door quickly. If it's a phone call, don't answer it. Do you know what I mean? Like, I feel like and it could be like one final test. Is he really ready? And the answer is yes. So, sometimes when those people reappear, it is a test. Does she really mean that she's done? Is he really closing that door? Because if that is the case, enter in new love. Okay. Let's look at that Nine of Swords. And hopefully by this point, we've changed that. And we just changed it. Wow. Totally different energy. Nine of Swords, worry. Oh my God, I don't know what's going to happen. Oh my God, what about this? Oh my God. And it's the things that you can't control anyway. That's the worry the divine says, hand over to us. Don't worry yourself to death. Like, just hand it over to us. And you do. Because now, this is completely different energy. This is optimism. This is doing exactly what judgment is asking you to do, living in the present moment. This is you saying to divine, I know my ships will come in, and I know they're going to come at the right time. And they are. We literally just changed your energy. We change your perception or your perspective. And it's also the energy of gratitude. Look at that. Maybe for some of you, that was the worry, was this person who feels like they caused you a lot of bullshit. And then I'm looking at the Emperor and I'm like, wow. And I'm not thinking about Aries. I'm just thinking of the type of person that is. Well, that's someone I could give my heart to. And part of me feels like, maybe you are becoming single. Maybe that's why we saw the marriage card, but it was connected to all that bullshit. And that may be the key that opens the door. Number one, I feel like the Ace of Wands is really the passion, like your passion being ignited. And there's a reason for it. Even if we look at the final outcome now, Ace of Wands to the Three of Wands. But again, the Three of Cups, joy. So this is meant to bring you joy. But it is asking you to allow yourself to be the Fool. And that means the willingness just to take a leap of faith. But even the Two of Wands underneath that, maybe just a step. Again, this is not fear-based. Especially with the Ace of Wands there. Because I feel like it's almost like your heart chakra is being activated. And you may not know why. Well, you do now. The Fool. Probably one of the most important energies here. The Fool and the Hermit. The extraction of the wisdom. The reminder that I am an old soul. That whatever it is that I needed to get through, I've gotten through before. And I can get through again. And I know you can because it's showing you getting through it. Not only getting through it, this looks like for some of you, like you may have dealt with a karmic partner. And closing that door is the key to ending that karma for eternity, by the way. Doesn't mean they can't make one last appearance. But that has to be you then shutting that door, not answering that phone, or saying no. You had me, you lost me, I'm done. Then again, I feel like don't even have a conversation. Like, just let it be. And I'm saying that because this feels like a blessing after a karmic lesson. All right. I'm going to just take one swig around and ask for any other messages. And then I am going to bring out the romance angels, the Seven of Wands, Chariot, card of Cancer. But the Chariot represents your unlimited potential, though it is coming under the Ten of Cups. Wow. Seven of Pentacles. Okay. Seven of Pentacles to me is your tree of life. And I feel like it's just clarifying or validating what I was saying, where I feel like Temperance is bringing two soulmates together. And I feel like these soulmates, if we get rid of the fear and the fluff and all that, and we see each other or we allow ourselves to feel the rest will just take place. Like, I just feel like you're going to fall in love. And they're going to fall in love. But the Seven of Pentacles, it feels like these seeds were pre-planted. And that's exactly what I was feeling over here. Like a past life where we couldn't get together. And then we both crossed on. And then this lifetime, we said, let's try again. So we pre-planted those seeds. And now Temperance's job or judgment, your spiritual team's job, is to let you know that that seed or seeds are now coming to fruition. I feel like the Seven of Wands is again the past. And the Chariot is the vehicle to move away from it. It's also the balance of the divine feminine and the divine masculine, the light and the shadow. And it wants you to tell yourself that you possess unlimited potential. And the only limit is the limit we put on ourselves, like the Nine of Swords, the Eight of Swords. But if we could get rid of all that and just really trust our intuition, which means we're trusting our spirit guides, I feel like everything will just fall in place. All right, let's bring out the romance angels, because I do feel like this reading is calling for it, but let's pick up some of these. I feel like it's calling for it. Just move that 10 right up with that 10. Taurus, I don't feel like you need anyone to come in to help, like, with your money. Though I'm not saying, like, I want anybody to come in broke either. But I feel like what it's saying really is, like, you are finding success with what you do in the world, or you're going to. And to really trust in yourself as it relates to your career, your money, or your creativity, to trust that, because I feel like you are made to do well. But now I feel like this reading is answering love. And I did not try to make it a love reading, I promise you. But that's what it wanted to be. And I am merely the messenger. Look at this. Someone from your past is returning to your life. Look at them up in the clouds. In a way, it does kind of feel like past lives. Oh my gosh. Calling in your soulmate. That's what you're doing in the hangman state. You're calling in your soulmate. Some of you may not even know it, yet you are. Your prayers, affirmations, and visualizations help bring you together. And then, hello, passion. Allow your heart and soul to sing with joy. And that's exactly what was over this new path, joy. Passion, telling me you won't be able to deny the way it feels. Familiar energy, because you do already know them. And for the majority, I feel like this is past lives because I am getting the sense, I guess it could also be in this lifetime, but I get a sense that we couldn't be together. Like there was something that just wouldn't allow us to be together. I know what it is in the past life, but I'm going to let you decide if you want to watch the video or not. You don't have to. It's kind of telling you here that, it's not saying someone may return. It's saying someone is returning. Someone from your past is returning to your life. We didn't need to know it was a soulmate because Temperance was already telling us that. But here it is. By the way, chances are you're not the only one. Chances are you both heard the call of destiny. And how exciting it's going to be for these souls who weren't able to be together in past lives, or at least the last past life, to be together in this lifetime. This is really important that we don't let, like, the Nine of Swords or naysayers, or like, we want to believe it to be so. We want to believe it to be so. And even the Four of Swords, let's just put it this way. If you want great love, you have to be able to give great love. That is the law of attraction, amongst other things. I need to be what it is I want, or I need to be in that energetic force, right? Like I could want this soulmate, but if I'm still in the Nine of Swords, what good would it do? Because chances are you'd be like, no, go away, I'm afraid. Because of all the clearing you've done, though, and we see optimism versus fear, I feel like you're going to say yes. And I don't care if you're only taking a step into it. I feel like the rest will take care of itself. When you have so much divine energy whose main goal is connecting these two souls together, it's going to happen. But don't forget, these readings aren't just about like, oh, the beautiful soulmates are coming together. How do I get there? What do I need to do? Like, I need to be truly honest with myself. What door needs to close? Is it fear-based? Is it due to other people? Other people telling you you're not worthy, especially if you dealt with a narcissist. And that healing, if you dealt with a narcissist, so important. So important. But listen, I don't feel like Temperance or Judgment would be here calling you to the present moment if you weren't ready, if you couldn't close that door. I guess in a way you have to allow this rebirth, but it's a rebirth of love. And boy, do I feel past lies. But I am feeling so strongly like we couldn't be together. And that may have put like this longing in your heart in this lifetime. And you may not even known why. You could have gone through different relationships and just felt like, why does nothing ever feel like real, true love? There's always issues or this or that. Again, the levels of love. What have they taught us? Sometimes I'm telling you, the lesson is one of the most important lessons is knowing what you do not want. You have to know what you deserve. And I feel like you are maybe subconsciously calling in your soulmate. But yet it's divine's time. These past life lovers are coming back together. If I have anything to say about it. And I hope there is nothing I hope there's no obstacles. But if there are, if we see the emperor, then we know that you must be the empress. We know that your energy must be matching. And we did see the empress. But maybe the empress couldn't be the empress until she figured out her own worth. So it's like the empress is kind of buried back there, but we saw her. And then we see the emperor. Well, who knows? Maybe it's the emperor calling you in. But I get this feeling that, at least subconsciously, you're calling each other in. And it's the right time. And this is why now I get it. Why Spirit said that once things move, there is no going back. And it sounded like, but now I get it. Like, why would I want to go back? Why would I want to go back? All right, I'm going to leave that be. I'm going to leave that be. And, I don't like to suggest to watch like videos because I'm not trying to push it. But I have a feeling many of you, if you're really relating to this, I have a feeling many of you are going to relate to that also. So, bottom line, I feel like Taurus is doing Taurus, finding success in what they do. But now it's love. And so be it. And so be it. I love you. I thank you guys. I really do. I thank you for your time. I know my readings are long. But that's because I love going in depth. Like I want to give you a roadmap. And boy, your spiritual team, powerful in this reading. Powerful before I even began. So I'm going to trust them. Let that be. And I will see you next time at our table. I love you. Bye-bye.